June 9th, 1912. A small American town goes to sleep in peace. By sunrise, 8 people will be dead inside a single home. No gunshots, no screams heard, no signs of forced entry, and no one ever convicted. More than a century later, the case remains one of the most haunting unsolved massacres in U.S. history. Tonight, we step inside the house in Villisca, Iowa, and into a mystery that still refuses to die. This is the story of the Villisca Axe murders. Welcome back to the channel. If you're drawn to real unsolved crimes, psychological darkness, and the cases that still disturb investigators more than 100 years later, you're in the right place. Tonight's story isn't just about violence. It's about silence. It's about suspicion. And it's about a killer who walked away unnoticed. Turn off the lights and let's begin. In 1912, Villisca was the kind of place people believed was immune to horror. Population, around 2,500. Farm families, railroad workers, merchants, church gatherings every Sunday. Doors were often left unlocked. Neighbors didn't just wave, they knew each other by name. Violence wasn't something people feared. It was something that happened somewhere else. Inside a modest white frame house on 2nd Street lived the Moore family. Josiah Moore, 43, a successful businessman, friendly, outgoing, ambitious. His wife, Sarah Moore, devoted mother. Their 4 children, Herman, 11, Catherine, 10, Boyd, 7, Paul, 5, a textbook American family. Respected, stable, trusted, no known enemies, no visible danger. Sunday evening, June 9th, 1912. The Moore family attended Children's Day services at the local Presbyterian church. The church was full. Music echoed softly through wooden walls. Children recited verses. Among them were 2 sisters, Lena and Ina Stillinger, friends of the Moore children. After the service, the Moore family invited the sisters to spend the night. An innocent invitation. One simple decision. 8 lives connected under one roof. Around 9:30 p.m., the Moore family and the Stillinger sisters walked home. The night was calm. Crickets in the distance, a soft Midwestern breeze. Nothing felt wrong. No one noticed a shadow. No one sensed they were being watched. By 10 p.m., the house was quiet. Oil lamps extinguished, windows closed. Josiah and Sarah went upstairs to their bedroom. The 4 Moore children shared 2 upstairs rooms. The Stillinger sisters slept downstairs in the guest room. 8 people, all asleep, or so it seemed. Sometime after midnight, someone entered the house. There were no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no shattered locks. Investigators later believed the killer may have been inside the house before the family returned, waiting in silence, in darkness. An axe, likely taken from the Moore's own shed, was the chosen weapon. Personal, brutal, close. The killer moved upstairs first, into the bedroom of Josiah and Sarah Moore. They were attacked in their sleep. Blunt force trauma to the head, repeated blows, overkill. The violence suggested rage, or something far darker. The killer stayed long enough to ensure death, then moved on. One by one, the Moore children were murdered, each struck while asleep. Some showed signs they may have partially awakened, but no one escaped. The house remained silent. No neighbors reported screams, no barking dogs, just stillness. Last were Lena and Ina Stillinger, downstairs, in the guest room. Evidence suggested one of them may have briefly awakened. There were defensive wounds. The violence was extreme. The killer stayed longer in this room. Why? That question still haunts investigators. After the murders, something disturbing happened. The killer did not flee immediately. Mirrors in the house were covered with cloth. Windows were draped. A slab of bacon was placed near one victim. The axe was wiped clean and left in the home. This was not panic. This was ritual, or control, or both. June 10th, 1912. Early morning. The sun rose over Villisca like any other day, but something felt wrong. Mary Peckham, a neighbor, noticed the Moore house was unusually still. Chickens hadn't been fed. No one had stepped outside. She knocked. No answer. A second knock. Still nothing. A quiet dread began to form. Mary contacted Josiah Moore's brother. Together they entered the home. The smell hit first. Heavy, metallic. Upstairs they found Josiah and Sarah in bed. Then the children. Then the guest room. 8 bodies, a single weapon. An entire family erased in one night. The town's innocents died that morning too. News spread instantly. By mid-morning, townspeople gathered outside the Moore home. Curiosity overpowered caution. People walked in and out of the house freely. They touched furniture, moved items, stood near the bodies. The crime scene was destroyed before investigators fully arrived. Vital evidence gone forever. The murder weapon was found inside the house, an axe belonging to Josiah Moore. It had been cleaned, placed deliberately in a downstairs room. The killer had time to wash, time to think, time to cover mirrors. This was not chaos. This was controlled violence. Investigators noticed something chilling. Every mirror in the house had been covered. Even glass doors were draped. Why? Superstition. Guilt? A ritualistic act? Some believed the killer didn't want to see himself. Others believed he didn't want the victims to see him. Either way, it wasn't random. Suspicion fell quickly within town. Business rivals, former employees, jealous neighbors. Josiah Moore had previously worked for a powerful businessman in the region. Rumors of bad blood surfaced, but no direct evidence tied anyone to the crime. Just whispers. Then attention shifted to a traveling minister, George Kelly. He had passed through Villisca shortly before the murders. He behaved strangely, watched the crime scene intensely, asked unusual questions. He later fled town. That made him suspicious, very suspicious. Years later, George Kelly confessed. He described entering the house, climbing the stairs, swinging the axe, but his confession was inconsistent. Details didn't always match the evidence. Was he telling the truth, or was he mentally unstable and seeking attention? In 1917, George Kelly stood trial. The courtroom was packed. Newspapers across America covered the story. The prosecution argued opportunity and confession. The defense argued mental instability and lack of physical proof. No fingerprints, no witnesses, only words. The jury acquitted him, not guilty. The town was divided. Some believed justice failed. Others believed they nearly condemned an innocent man. George Kelly walked free, and the case remained unsolved. Around the same time, similar axe murders occurred across multiple states. Entire families killed in their sleep. Axes left behind. Mirrors sometimes covered. Was this a roaming serial killer? Was Villisca just one stop in a larger pattern? Investigators never confirmed it, but the similarities are chilling. If it was a drifter, he disappeared. No forensic science, no DNA testing, no modern profiling, just scattered clues and fading memories. The killer blended back into America, unnoticed, unknown. The Moore house still stands today in Villisca, restored, preserved, frozen in 1912. Visitors walk the same floors, climb the same stairs, stand in the same bedrooms. The silence feels heavier there. Some visitors claim strange experiences: children's laughter, footsteps in empty rooms, doors closing, cold spots, whether psychological or paranormal. The tragedy lingers. Modern profilers believe the killer showed patience, control, ritualistic behavior, comfort in close violence. He wasn't rushed. He wasn't panicked. He was deliberate. That suggests experience or rehearsal. Experts believe blunt force trauma to the head could have rendered victims unconscious instantly. The house was small, but rural nights are quiet, and death can be fast, especially when delivered in sleep. After that night, Villisca was never the same. Doors locked, trust fractured. Children grew up hearing whispers of the axe. Fear replaced innocence. One night reshaped an entire town's identity. More than a century later, the case remains officially unsolved. No conviction, no closure. 8 victims, no justice. The file remains open in history, but closed in reality. Who could walk into a home, kill 8 sleeping people, and calmly cover mirrors afterward? Was it rage, religious mania, serial compulsion, or something far darker? The truth may have died with the killer. Imagine the house at 2 a.m., wood creaking, floorboards settling, breathing in the dark, and someone standing over your bed. In 1912, that wasn't imagination, it was reality. And the killer walked out before sunrise, never caught, never identified, just gone. 8 people, 1 axe, a silent house in Iowa, a confession that solved nothing, a suspect acquitted, and a mystery that still breathes more than 100 years later. Some crimes fade with time. This one never did, because somewhere in history, a killer got away with it. If you're drawn to America's darkest unsolved cases, Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Comment below. Do you believe George Kelly was the killer? Or do you think Villisca was part of a larger serial pattern? Because sometimes the most terrifying stories aren't about ghosts. They're about real monsters who were never caught. I'll see you in the next investigation.